Welcome back to the renovation series and Happy New Year. December was a pretty stressful month with quite a lot going wrong and not a lot of progress, but I'm adamant that January is going to be a much better month. I've got the plasterer coming in a few days to do the lounge, the hallway, the stairs and the landing. So I've got a lot of prep work to do so that he can just come in and do his thing. I've also taken delivery of the skirting boards for the bedrooms, so I'm going to have my first go trying to fit those. And yeah, I'm feeling very energized for January and very motivated. So let's see how it all goes. To prep the walls for the plasterer, there's 4 main things I've got to do. I need to scrape off all the old wallpaper glue residue, fill all the cracks and holes with bonding. I then need to remove all the damp plaster from the rising damp. And then I need to paint all of the walls in blue grit so that it's all ready for the plasterer to come in and smash it out. So let's start with the wallpaper glue. The walls are covered with this orange wallpaper residue. I've struggled to get this off in the past, but I think I've finally got the technique sorted. I started by rolling hot water all over the walls to soften the residue. I did this a few times and continued to do it while I was working to make sure the glue was as soft as possible, as it makes it a lot easier to scrape off. This process takes a long time, and I actually ripped a hole in my thumb from doing the same motion so many times. Never underestimate how sticky this stuff is, as I managed to get about a centimetre thick layer on the bottom of my sliders. It was then time to finally say goodbye to my lovely netted curtains and pull off the window trim, as my windows will be replaced soon, but more on that in a future video. While I was up there, I realised that the plaster on the bottom of the window lintel had completely blown, so I removed this with a hammer and an old chisel. There are a lot of holes in the plaster, including the hole I cut in the ceiling in episode 17, so it's time to move on to step 2. To prep the holes for bonding, I first hoovered them out to get rid of any dust. I then used a 1-to-1 mixture of SBR and water to seal the wall. Not really sure why I had ear protectors on for this job. I mixed up some bonding coat, and I think I've finally worked out the ratios of water to bonding so that I don't mix 4 times as much as I need. Although getting the consistency correct is still a work in progress. If you've been watching the whole series, you might be thinking, Joe, I thought you were going to plaster the whole house. Well, actually, you're probably not thinking that as you see my attempts at plastering. But yes, I have given up with the idea of plastering the whole house myself, as my plastering was pretty poor and the stress levels were too high. I can't afford to be losing any more hair. If you're enjoying this sort of content and you're not subscribed already, then what are you even doing? Joking, but please do consider hitting the subscribe button. It's completely free and I'm going to be posting all the way to the end, so you'll get to see what this place looks like when I'm done. At this point, the skirting board for the bedrooms arrived, so I took a break from the plaster prep and thought I'd have a go at my first attempt at skirting. I had a serious case of man flu at this point, so I wasn't on my best form. I started by measuring the first piece and cutting it to size. So you better watch out. I just know I'm gonna do this wrong. Oh well.
Right. Well, that's not straight at all.
It turns out it was straight. I think I'm just blind. As you can see here, I used a 45-degree miter cut on the internal corner at the end. And if you're scrolling down to the comments section to tell me I should have scribe cut it, just wait until later in the video because I wouldn't want you looking like a fool. Once I'd offered the piece up to the wall, I realised that I needed to scrape off some old paint and sand down some polyfiller to make sure the board sat nice and flush against the wall. Okay, highly likely this is going to go wrong. Okay, that gives me a countersunk hole. The next half an hour was a lot of trial and error, trying to work out the best way to do this. I guess that's in the wall, is it? Not even fully in the wall. Okay, I'm going to change tactics here. Oh no, that's good. Okay, let's just pull the massive wedge out of that. Brilliant. Okay, I've changed my mind again. He's checking it twice. He's trying to find out who's naughty or nice. I reckon this is gonna look absolutely bloody perfect first time. Like most things that I do. Oh my god, my knees. Okay, I'm feeling confident about the fourth time. Come on, mate. Oh, yes. Come on, mate. I've watched a lot of videos on it, but it's never really an exact copy of what you're seeing on the screen. Sorry, but pretty sure I've just fit a skirting board. Not to brag or anything, but hardly even a gap at the top. Obviously, I'm going to cork it so there's no gap, but pretty happy with that. I mean, obviously it was an absolute faff to start with, but you learn from your mistakes, mate. Once I'd done this first board, I was feeling a lot more confident, as you could probably tell. I settled on the process of cutting the board downstairs and then offering it up to the wall to check it fit nice and flush. Once I was happy with the fitment, I drilled through the board with a wood drill bit all the way through so that it made a mark on the wall. I'd do this along the length of the board and then I would go back with a 6mm masonry bit and drill through where I'd made those marks. I made sure to drill nice and deep into the wall so that I knew I was at the brick. I'd then use a screw and a wall plug and hammer that in and then pull the screw out. So I had a wall plug nice and deep in that brick so that I could attach the board to that. All that was left to do then was tighten up all of the screws and make sure the board fit nice and snug against the wall. I fit the rest of the skirting around the room apart from a small piece underneath the radiator, and then I cracked on with the master bedroom. When it comes to the internal corners on skirting, you're meant to do a scribe cut. I didn't do this in the other room because I was a bit intimidated by it and the walls were pretty much 90 degrees from each other, so I thought I could get away with the 45s. I used the miter saw to do a 45-degree cut, and then I attempted to cut out the profile. I quickly realised I was using the wrong type of saw, so I went and bought a fine-tooth floorboard saw, which was much better. I then used a coping saw to get through the intricate part of the coping design. This was actually much easier to do than I thought, and it's pretty satisfying because it comes out looking pretty cool. It's a much more forgiving cut, so when you caulk it, it should look a lot better. This piece of skirting was so long that I had to pull it through the window in order to get it upstairs. At this point, the plasterer called to say he could come a week early, so I stopped the skirting and turned my attention back to prepping the downstairs for plaster. I needed to remove the radiators downstairs, and unfortunately the valves that I had fitted to these radiators mean that I can't isolate the radiators, so I had to drain the whole heating system. Once I drained the system, I removed the radiators and then I cracked on with removing all the damp plaster. Once I'd cleaned up all the mess, it was time to move on to the final stage of preparation, painting the whole place in blue grit. I mixed the blue grit with PVA and a little bit of water to make it go on easier and for the blue grit to go further. Now that's all done, it's time to hand it over to the plasterer. Bye for now.